Hello, everyone. This is Mr. 2020, the Whole Reffin' Show. Jamie Tucker on the Whole Reffin' Show.
Hey, welcome.
How's everyone doing today?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm great. Anyway,
Glad to be
so
here.
hold on here. In Tucker Studio today.
Yes. It's a cold, rainy day.
It is. It's cold and rainy here in Southwest Virginia. Yeah, not fun being out in it today. I'm glad I'm not out in it now.
Yes.
I'm glad to be inside. I'm glad to be talking more wrestling and just being here in general. So, first, we want to mention Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company, as always. Guys, go to their site, check it out. It's for the veterans, so go check it out. Buy you something. Proceeds go to the veterans, and when you do check out at the end, you put in code JamieT123 for 15% off, and that's a great, fantastic deal. And Christmas is right here around the corner.
Yep, it's coming up.
Yes. Soon you'll be hearing bells and Santa's sleigh.
Yay, Santa.
So, we're going to talk about, and this, what we're going to talk about first before we go into our topic this week.
Yeah.
The Mike Tyson fight is tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson and Paul are fighting. And
Paul.
the last name's Paul.
Jacob. Jake.
Jake Paul, maybe?
Jeremy? I don't know.
Yeah, because one's in the WWE and the other one is a TikTok / boxer, whatever. I don't know what. I don't keep up with all that. But yeah, one brother is in the WWE. He's a pro wrestler. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And his brother's the one fighting Mike Tyson.
Okay.
But anyway, the reason I brought this up is a few weeks ago I talked about how pro wrestling was a young man's business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that being said, I probably came off a little vague. Because the reason I say this is because pro wrestling is a young man's business when you are in your 60s and 70s still holding on to something that's long gone.
Okay.
But for guys that are in great shape and can still go, like a Chris Jericho, a Jeff Jarrett, somebody of that nature, right? It's been around for a long, long time that are in great shape. Their injuries didn't take over, and their body's in great shape, and they still can go, right?
Right.
They can still go with the 20 and 30-year-old guys that are mainstream stars. So let's clear that up. And when I bring this up is because I'm straight for Tyson knocking this guy out.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Tyson,
I'll be so sad.
Yes, if he
Tyson
doesn't.
does not win.
That's right. Tyson is 60 years old, but I've seen him train on these videos, and he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. Yeah. And it kind of reminds you of the Rocky movies. And who doesn't love that guy like Rocky that comes back and just pummels the other guy, right? So I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, and I hope if you're a wrestling fan that hopefully you're also a boxing fan, and because it's a combat sport. They're all combat sports. Mm-hmm. And UFC's in that neighborhood. And, I like a little bit of everything. But pro wrestling, to me, is the king of sports. But I will watch some boxing if it interests me. And tomorrow night does.
Well,
so I will definitely be watching that on Netflix. And I hope everyone else does too. And even if you, just like the election, if you don't like Tyson and you want the other guy to win, that's fine.
Right.
I'm not going to hate you for it. But have a good time watching it nonetheless. Because I know we will. So, moving along. We're going to talk about WCW 2001. We had briefly talked about WCW 2000.
Right.
But now we're talking about WCW 2001. And as everyone knows, it's a whole 3 months of the year 2001. So it's not that long of a conversation. And I'm not going to talk about every show I did and every match I refereed through the last 3 months, but we're going to touch some topics that I think is interesting.
Okay.
So on January the 11th of 2001, it was announced that Fuchsia Media was going to purchase WCW from Time Warner.
Okay.
The sale would take from the next 30 to 90 days to happen. Kind of weird.
And what company is that?
Fusion Media. It was involved. It was the Eric Bischoff was involved to get this money.
He was getting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody thought that's if it was going to happen as a sale, that's what was going to happen.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I went on the inside totally deep. So the only thing I did know was what I just read to you.
Yeah.
I was a talent, and that's where it stopped, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that was the big topic of starting off 01 with WCW. Now we move along to January the 14th, which is a Sunday night pay-per-view, Indianapolis, Indiana, WCW Sin. It was the first Sin pay-per-view of WCW.
Oh, and the first one of the year.
Yep. So here's the thing. They had a theme going, and a lot of people didn't know this either. It was WCW Sin. The next one was called Super Brawl Revenge. And then March was WCW Greed.
Is all that new? All of them were new?
Super Brawl was not new except for the part they added Revenge. But the Super Brawl pay-per-view, actually, they started...
So they were trying to get...
The first one was in 1991.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they not usually called the same thing each year?
No, if it's something popular, it is.
They keep it the same?
Yep.
Okay.
Especially if it's like, well, you know WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
Starrcade, Survivor Series, Great American Bash.
So why did they change the names if it didn't
Bash at the Beach. WCW, they also were trying something different too. So.
They were trying new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
New year, new stuff.
It was also another new logo, which was kind of a boxy logo in red. WCW letters were in red. Yeah.
Recall that.
Yeah. Yeah. But, we roll into Indianapolis for this pay-per-view. I refereed that I do remember 2 matches on this. I don't think I had a third one, but we're going to go in detail on everything. It was the Young Dragons against Jamie Noble and Evan Courageous with the Young Dragons over. And then a First Blood match between Shane Douglas and Hugh Morris for the United States title.
Oh. Okay.
The object of the match was a chain hung above the ring. And the guy that climbed the ladder to get the chain can use the chain. If the guy busts open, the guy that bleeds loses, of course. It's a First Blood match. The first one to bleed.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this entanglement, I'm standing next to the ladder close. Douglas, as Hugh Morris is climbing the ladder to get the chain, Douglas shoves the ladder. The ladder, in this process, runs into me. I get hit. I go down. It's some kind of, if you look back at the video, it's some kind of cheating from Douglas. I think he had an extra chain from somewhere, or I don't know what happened. He gets the chain from Morris, nails him with it, and then I get up. Douglas is making sure I see Morris with his head busted open, and then I ring for the bell. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that's how that went down. So that's how Douglas won the U.S. title in the First Blood ladder match. And then the big story of that night, I was not in the ring refereeing this match. The referee of this match was Slick Johnson, but this was the night that Sid busted up his ankle and leg.
And he broke it.
I can't. It's some kind of bad fracture. It was really bad. I can't remember what kind of injury they called it, but it was bad. It was horrible looking. If you go back on the video, and they played it on Nitro the next day.
Yeah.
His leg is just dangling there at the ankle. It's gross. And I wasn't a part of it, but how the injury happened.
It wasn't your fault. Okay.
No, I was not even nowhere near that ring.
All right.
I will make that clear, right? Sid does this spot where he jumps off the second rope, supposed to, in the process, hit a big boot. But the problem with that is Sid is putting all that weight on such a big structure, and he's so tall, on that one leg coming down, and it just snaps. And it was John Laurinaitis' big idea. So,
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine Johnny having a shitty idea, right? Thanks, Johnny.
Where's the toilet noises?
But, he just kept on and on. But the reason, I don't know why Johnny cared how Sid did his big boot that night. I don't know why Sid, such a big man, had to do that. It made Sid was already over. He didn't need to do that, right? But the whole process was, here's the thing. Sid's laid in the middle of the ring. But the whole angle is Johnny's brother's debuting back in the company, Animal. So they had Sid. This is one thing I do look back on, I think was still wrong. Sid lays in the middle of the ring the whole time as they work around him, and he's just laying there.
Nobody would cut it? Ugh.
Yeah. So there you go. But here's the weird thing. I'm standing near the gorilla position. And the gorilla position is right before we go out, guys, at the curtain, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
And that actually came... also, a cool fact, the gorilla position was named after Gorilla Monsoon. Okay. So that's a cool fact to also remember. But I'm standing there, guys, at the monitors right there at the gorilla position, and Goldberg sees what's happening. And he...
So y'all knew he was hurt?
Yeah.
And no one stopped?
Well, Goldberg grabs me to go out to the ring.
He should not have been sitting there.
Yeah. And...
No wonder...
The agents that were there waved it off. And said no. And when... You know, they're your boss, really.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out.
Listen to,
yeah.
Right.
And Sid was mad, and they're trying to talk to him about it. But that is what went down, and I was grabbed to go out there to check on, to see what the hell was going on with that. But it was all a big shocker, I'll be honest with you. When they all went down, the guys in the ring, you know, were pros, and they probably were in a bad boat situation themselves, but they're doing their job because that's what the company expects of them. And... You're in a bad prediction. I'm telling you, it's the same thing. Listen.
I guess it wasn't like he was having a heart attack. Hopefully they stop it then.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't dying, but it was nasty. And I'm sure he's laying there the whole time. He don't care what the fuck goes on at this point. I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't think so, right?
I'd be wanting to get out of there. And the two guys that were involved, you know, they were just doing their job. I know that. And what was expected of them. And I'm sure it was told through the referee's ear, which was Slick Johnson.
Did he ever say?
Who?
Slick.
I never asked him. I don't know.
I'd asked him.
Yeah, I never asked him. That would be an interesting topic to actually ask the man that was in the ring.
Yeah.
Probably getting the signals. But, you know, I've heard about it in other podcasts from guys that were actually in the match with Sid, the other two, which was Jarrett and Steiner. And, you know, it's just a bad situation for everybody involved. Let's just be honest. Nobody expects you to get hurt like that.
Right.
And then obviously when it's coming from the headset, you know, do this, do that. We got to get this angle shot. It's all on your shoulders. And I'm sure everyone involved was, and I do know this for a fact, everyone involved was more worried about his well-being, but they were just doing their job. So, but yeah, that Goldberg grabbed me, and when he did that, I was about to go. Then they said, no, don't go. And then I don't go, and then I'm like, I just back off because I don't want to be in the middle of it.
Now that you've seen the future, you should have went out there.
Maybe.
You're going to get fired anyway.
Yeah, 2 months later, I was gone. So yeah, you're right. But
then
the whole company,
what is he doing?
The whole company's gone. The whole company's gone 2 months later, so I guess it wouldn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
But that's a Goldberg story because, you know, to be honest with you, between that,
why didn't he just got there then?
I don't know.
Telling somebody else.
Well, I guess because the referees check on the guy. But here's the thing: you had a referee in the ring.
Yeah, why wasn't he checking on him?
Slick, you know. I don't know. It's probably just Goldberg overreacting for his fellow worker, I guess. I hope, but yeah, it is what it is, and that happened that night.
How'd you get out of the ring?
We actually, as soon as the show was over, we
like off TV, or was it live?
It was live on pay-per-view. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's when we got on. I actually have it on VHS somewhere. I think y'all were watching at home, but
yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah, I do have it somewhere. But anyway, so you know, we go out there, and I was one of the ones that helped loosen up the bottom rope. They take off the bottom rope, and then the paramedics come out, and they get him on the gurney, and they take him out. Okay. Yeah, so it was a horrible looking injury, and it's sad because you know, to be honest with you, Sid was a really
I'm sure it was
at least my interactions with the man, he was really a good dude. And he would talk to me, and soon as he was like a Mick Foley. As soon as he learned your name, he would always call you by your name.
Yeah, I think that's important.
He remembered your name. Yeah. Like Mick Foley, you could run into him 5 years without seeing him, and he would say your name to you. He would remember you. Mick Foley remembers everybody, and every time I'd go get him for a pre-tape. Pre-tapes are when they tape interviews or a segment during the day, and they have the referees go get the talent for these pre-tapes.
Right.
I would go run down guys for this, but he was always one of the coolest and nicest guys to go get, and never would act like it was troubling him to go do his job. Yeah. So he was a great dude. Nice. And, he just recently passed, and that's a sad story, too.
I'm sorry.
And I got to work some stuff with him, but not on this particular pay-per-view. But working with him was always good. So.
Oh, very cool.
So now, as we jump ahead, guys, we're looking at February the 5th. We're in Tupelo, Mississippi. Yeah, for
Groundhog's Day.
Huh?
A little past Groundhog's Day.
It was a little past it. Yeah, it wasn't actually
Groundhog's Day.
I know you do. You always like that. Yeah. But we're in Tupelo for Nitro Thunder taping. Because they tape Nitro they tape Thunder after Nitro now. At this point. We've been doing it for months. Since October.
Oh, the same day thing.
Yep.
Ugh, long day.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So, U.S. title match on Nitro. Rick Steiner beat Shane Douglas on Nitro for the U.S. title. That was my match on that one. I don't have my results for the Thunder taping, but I did work it. I had 2 matches on that Thunder. I do remember I had a couple matches, but I don't remember what they were. Because we are going back many years.
Yeah.
February 18th, we jump along to Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, Nashville.
Yep. Downtown at the Municipal Auditorium, Super Brawl Revenge. It's
another pay-per-view then, right?
Pay-per-view.
Okay.
WCW Cruiserweight title match. Chavo Guerrero Jr. retains his title over Rey Mysterio. That was a really good match. I enjoyed working with the Cruiserweights. Even now, I could still go with them, but, then, honestly, I was I was thinner. And I could fly around the ring, slide, all that good stuff. And but I could still do it today. I know I can. I just did an indie show, and I felt great in there. But I always enjoyed working with Ray and guys like that. They were really good and cool to work with. Yeah. But at this point, let's go ahead and get it out there. We were on release. How would I say it? We were on more of a relaxed schedule at this point. It would be typically 1 house show, maybe 2 small house show loops a month.
So they're already
and Nitro and Thunder were together, and you had 1 pay-per-view. So you're looking at 4 or 5. At most, I would work anywhere from 5 to 7, 8 days a month. Yeah. But they were,
you're still getting paid. So.
You still got paid because you're doing the double shots. Yeah. So in the same taping. So it was a nice light schedule, but you also got to think if your schedule is that light and they're trying to watch what their money's going, there's a bigger picture involved. But being a talent, being so young, just wanting to be a part of it, really didn't see the writing on the wall.
I'm sure you're just typing for the,
Yeah. But years later, I would have saw the writing on the wall, and I would have known what was going on. So
that's true. You get older, you do get wiser.
So February the 26th, guys, was my last night officially with WCW. So it's in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's let's see, we got. I refereed the non-title world. It's a World Tag Team Champion, Sean O'Haire and Chuck Palumbo, right? They're the World Tag Team Champions. They're working Lance Storm and Mike Awesome. Lance Storm and Mike Awesome beat them in a non-title match. It was outside interference with Luger on the Tron. Because I think Luger and Buff maybe had a feud or something going on with them. I can't remember. And then Canyon showed up outside, did something on one of them, and then Storm and Awesome beat O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo non-title match. And then my last official match in a WCW ring was that night, but for the Thunder taping, and it was Shane Helms going over Johnny Swinger. Yes.
Who's Johnny Swinger?
Johnny Swinger. He's got a hell of a gimmick now, I tell you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. He does like an old school looking wrestler. Wears a fanny pack when he goes to the ring.
Okay.
And he looks like he's from 1980, maybe 90s. and he always talks about the Rizats.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Rats
Not
and
that.
really cool stuff. So, really good gimmick.
That's funny.
Yep. We actually went to. You may not remember it because you were at WrestleCade in 2022.
Yeah.
And for the Omega reunion we did.
Right.
And we went that Friday night. Remember they had that little weird party gathering in the corner of the bar, and we went in that room. Because Tommy wanted to go in with George South and everybody came in.
Oh, yeah.
That was Johnny Swinger's party in there. Yeah.
The hors d'oeuvres.
Yes. The hors d'oeuvres and the little glass of wine and stuff. Yeah. So we went to that. Yeah. That was Johnny Swinger's party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Yep. I don't know how many Rizats we have nowadays because the culture's changed, but you might be more likely to find.
Is that politically incorrect to say nowadays?
Well, let me say this, and this might ruffle some feathers. I don't know. You might be more lenient to find some nerdy guy show up and want to hang out with you, just want to be one of the boys.
The women.
Yeah. It's changed a lot. I'm not saying that the rats are not around still and the groupies.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But it's not the same as the 1990s when I broke in. They were everywhere. Yeah. So it's changed a lot.
What do they do? Just kind of hang out and wait for you?
Go to the bars.
And do what?
I guess they try to get some wrestling ding.
Not.
What are you talking about?
Like.
What do you mean, do what?
Nothing. Go on.
You know what a Rizat is.
I do. I was just saying, like, I guess they hang out at the bar and try to talk to them or buy them drinks or something.
Pretty much. And if somebody's buying you a drink, you take it. Hell, we were down in...
Yeah, but...
I mean, listen, we were down in Orlando and we did the TNA tapings.
Yeah.
And there'd be grown men wanting to buy drinks for all of us. I'll let you buy me a drink.
Yeah, of course.
I'll let anybody buy me a drink. You know, so I'm always up for a free drink.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyways, moving along.
Yeah.
So I went back and, we talked about the Wild Child stuff when I was doing the wrestling as well. Mm-hmm. So I went back and found out that the year was correct, 1997. The PWI 500, and I was ranked 474.
Yes, last.
Not last. I wanted to get the number though.
So 400 and what? 70.
74.
74.
Yes.
All right.
That's 20.
Congratulations.
That's above 25 others behind me. So anyway.
And that's worldwide, nationwide. I forgot. I know I asked you before.
That's world.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty cool. Regardless,
do they do that once a year or every month?
They do it once a year still.
It's still once a year.
Yep.
Okay.
You can find the magazine occasionally at stores. Still, PWI 500. You can find.
Is that a monthly thing or?
Pro Wrestling Illustrated is monthly. Because I used to have them all through the 90s, and then I stopped buying them.
Well, I just thought nowadays I didn't know. Magazines exist anymore.
No, I tell you a funny story about how I got a lot of the magazines in the 90s. My dad,
Do you steal them?
No.
I'm just kidding.
My dad would, he picked up his medications from a local pharmacy in Charlotte. And he'd have the pharmacy guy made sure he had copies of that coming in every month.
Really?
Yep. And he'd always bring me home a magazine. Yeah.
Oh, your dad even could talk the pharmacist. Jeez.
I have a lot of magazines in our storage unit.
Wow. I didn't know he did that. That's nice.
Yeah, I have so many magazines from the 80s and the 90s, it ain't even funny.
If anybody wants to buy any of those, please.
I might have to part way. It's a lot of stuff to keep up with.
Yeah. It's sad it's just all hidden, too.
Yeah, between that and the video cassettes, I got tons of crap. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
And wrestling posters. The nice Tribune, I think it's called Tribune Showprint is the company. Yeah. Anybody that knows anything about wrestling old school, they would understand what I'm talking about. The nice cardboard looking posters, colorful. Some were rainbow, some were orange, some would just be yellow, some would be solid white with black writing, but it'd be nice size. And every time I see one, I'm like, oh God, you know, I love the wrestling posters. I just wish I had a lot older ones than what I got, but
from when, like 70s?
I started the late 80s collecting them.
Okay.
But I would have liked to have had some from the early 80s, Mid-Atlantic, maybe some of the other territories, Florida and the Memphis territory. All that would be so cool to have. But it's hard to find anyway. I went looking for some of this stuff online, and a lot of people are not parting ways with their posters. That's one thing for sure. Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, I'm a real old school fan when it comes to collecting posters, and I think the flyers of today, which it started changing in the 90s where most promoters wouldn't use them anyway.
Yeah.
But I always thought it made the show, to me, it made it look like something big was coming to town.
More authentic, maybe.
It was like, oh my, wrestling's coming. You see a paper flyer, you're like, sometimes, hell, I'll be honest, some people probably miss them even hanging up in a gas station window. They're just walking by them. But you see that big, colorful poster, your eyes catch it. You'd always see them. But I miss that. Yeah. So anyway, 474, PWI 500. That gimmick started in 1995, guys. And I think I told the backstory how I got the name. Todd actually came up with it, and I didn't really have a wrestling gimmick because I was mainly refereeing, because I just filled in for Stallion when they needed somebody, and he was like, just take this gimmick here, So we actually had one that he had that I really loved, Alex Electro. We got it off of Alex Wright from WCW because he come out and they call him the Das Wonder Kid, and he danced.
Okay.
And we were trying to find some young guy to carry that character, but we never did use it. So that would have been awesome because we liked that name. We also had a tag team name called the Screaming Demons.
Sounds like a water slide.
Well, they was a pro wrestling tag team.
They were?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they were.
Roller coaster.
Well, I don't know if it was actually. It could kind of be actually our tag team name, me and Todd's tag team name, because it'd be on the flyer, and then me and him would work on the show. So, yeah, but no, Todd's a good dude. We just had, the main thing that brought me and him to have a friendship was we were big wrestling fans, and we both just loved wrestling growing up, and we tried to run our own stuff, and it's really hard to run a pro wrestling show. Any promoter that succeeds on a regular basis is doing really well because it's really hard, especially on the independent level. It's just hard to get butts in the seats and hard to get the revenue going to be able to justify running.
Right.
So it's a lot of work to get involved if you do it right. And we were trying to. But, I had so many other bookings going on that it interfered with me trying to run shows, so I did still more up and down the road for other people. But, I knew my forte was refereeing. I knew that's how I was going to get to the big dance.
Right.
And I did several times. So I was correct about that.
Very good.
Very correct about that. So, I'm trying to think if there's any more in-ring injuries to talk about that either I was associated with or I had. I know a few times I had my knee dislocated inside the ring.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, here's one time, and this is and you may remember this show because you were there with me. Remember when I made that shoot DVD back in 2005?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. And we really didn't do much with it.
Right.
we really didn't market it.
No.
And I think that was a mistake because it would have made money. But then again, I think the new me would talk more dirt. So now it would be really
what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
You know. So anyway, it was a show in Forest City, and I was trying to hawk my DVDs that I did have for sale at the gimmick tables.
All right.
In Forest City. And I cannot remember the promoter's name to save my life, but oh yes, I remember the promoter's name. Rex Rumble. Okay. So I'm refereeing for these two guys inside the ring. Well, I don't even remember who the two guys are. I don't have my results in front of me, but I do remember I got hurt. The guy rolls in the ring as my back's turned, trying to back up the other guy, but he doesn't let me back the guy up. And when he backs in the ring, he runs in the back of my legs and knocks me down, and my leg twists.
Ugh.
Well, I already have issues with my one patella on my
I do.
left knee. Yeah.
Little patella.
Yeah. So it kind of popped out.
Ugh.
I popped it back in,
Ugh.
but it was sore. I went back there, and I was still supposed to referee the main event.
You ought to kicked his ass.
And it was Rex in the main event. And I'm like, I said, dude, just now that guy came in the ring. The way he came in, he ran to my leg, and I said, twisted my leg. I said, I'm not going back out there the way I'm hurting.
Yeah.
It's an indie show, and, it's the payoffs, they're smaller.
Right.
Luckily, I done got my payoff.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I'm leaving. I'm out. I got my stuff. We left. Mm-hmm. But, just stupid stuff like that, guys that are not really trained properly, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. That was probably the case in these two guys' case, for me remembering this. But stuff like that can hurt people. And that's why it's really important that when you're doing things, you got to know your whereabouts in the ring. You got to take care of yourself, take care of your opponent, and take care of your referee. Yeah. Just like the referee is trying to take care of you guys. So it's all a team effort. And, a lot of that gets lost when there's no good prior training. And I blame that on the people open these wrestling schools that don't train people half-ass. You can't send them in there half-ass trained. It's not going to work. Somebody is going to get hurt. But I remember that injury happening to me. And then, of course, I may have talked about it before. I broke my finger putting up the ring, actually, for Stallion. Because their trainees were in a hurry and they were goofing off. And I'm sitting there trying to tell them what to do. And bam, my finger gets smashed, broken. Ooh. Bam, whatever. But other than that, and a couple other times, my knee's just prone to do that at times. Unfortunately. Not really any big injuries on my behalf. Knock on wood.
Yes, thank you.
And then the grossest injury that I saw was Sid's up close. And then when I think about injuries or if something happening bad, was that one kid we talked about in Florida that his heart stopped. Yeah. And I'm just so glad that he's okay and everything went well.
Super scary. Yeah.
That was probably the most scariest that I've been in, though, was when that kid's heart stopped. And thank God, like I said, paramedics at an indie show are very hard to find sometimes, but we had them.
Good.
So that's something that... is
that a law too, or is that just...
I don't know. This is Florida, so maybe.
I just wonder, because the ones you do, sometimes I don't know if they're just hidden, or I just never see them.
Well, South Carolina and Virginia, you have a license. Virginia's license...
What's that got to do with...
Well, hold on.
Anybody can have a heart attack. Or,
no. Well, hold on.
Or cardiac arrest.
Well, see, there's the athletic commission. A lot of these states come out to your shows, and they would check blood pressure, check this, check that.
That doesn't guarantee anything.
Nothing guarantees. But like the state of New York, if your blood pressure's too high, they're not letting you in the ring.
Well, that should be.
In Las Vegas, if you're in the state of Nevada, my blood pressure was up a little bit for Halloween Havoc's pay-per-view. But, you get your adrenaline pumping before you go out, you're going to have shit up, right? Yeah. They took it, and they're like, oh, you'll be all right, and they let me go. Okay, yeah. But they do check you, and in some states. Now, the state of Virginia, you don't see them no more come out. They're like ghosts.
Get their money and...
Yeah, pretty much.
Run.
But the state of South Carolina, I understand they're still on...
They do come out.
Oh, yeah. They're still tight on theirs. So, but...
Oh, Oh,
I think,
that's a shame if it keeps.
North Carolina has no athletic commission. Georgia has no athletic commission. Florida has no athletic commission, but we do work. We worked all the time in them states.
Yeah.
The good thing about not having an athletic commission, though, is the fees involved.
Because who gets that money?
The state, but I don't know what happens with
right.
it. Nobody knows what happens with it. Anything to do with the government, you always wonder what happens with that money.
Right.
So there you go with that. But
and how much is it? What do you pay?
The state of Virginia is $40.
But just say $40 times even just 400 people.
Yeah, but you're talking more than 400.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the whole WWE roster.
Oh, it's everybody.
AEW.
Okay.
Independent. Yeah. You're talking about all that. And referees, wrestlers.
That's true.
Boxers. Hell, some of them have timekeepers for these states. They charge a timekeeper to get a license. To be a timekeeper. Yeah. So it's crazy. But, so, we're going to wrap it up here this week. I hope everyone enjoyed the WCW backstory of 2001. We will be back soon with some more great content. We're going to have an all-question show again next time. We're going to save these questions up, get some gathered, and answer them.
Yeah, and what's your email?
The email address is wrestleref123@gmail.com.
Okay.
And I encourage everyone to send in your comments, questions, anything. If you think I said something negative and you want to say something to me, please do. I'm all about that. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's have a conversation about your questions. Let's have a conversation about your comments. Let's have a conversation about your grievances. Let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? So everyone, remember the email address and your questions, comments, whatever. Remember about Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company, cowboyrevolution.com. Go look at their merch. Help out the veterans and the process. You save 15% off with the code JamieT123.
Win-win.
That's right. Yes. And I'm looking forward to the next episode. Send in your questions. Let's have a lot of questions. Let's knock them out of the park.
All right.
You got anything to leave them with?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Good night.